And we are off and rolling with another Octopod Live Dive. It is your Friday tradition. You know it, you love it, and we'll wait on some folks to stream on in here. I'm Brad. He is not Zach. He's not Zach.
No.
We had a different not
Last
Zach yesterday. No, we appreciate Kyle filling in yesterday. Lindsey Crosby is in today. Still not Zach. That's all right, because we have plenty to talk about. So since last we were with you, Auburn added 3 guys in the transfer portal. And, are they going to start? Probably not. Do you still need them? Yep. Does every transfer portal addition have to be a starter? Nope. So couple of additions yesterday, 2 offensive linemen and a defensive lineman, Lindsey, for Auburn.
To your point on they don't all have to be starters. All the guys that left weren't starters.
Right. Good point.
And so, I mean, if you're disappointed with who Auburn brought in, all the guys that left were not starters because you lost more than 22 guys. But no, I like the idea of over-indexing certain positions. We're not even there yet. Like, we haven't even gotten to the point where you have too many. A lot of this are like, these guys they have potential. They can be starters in the future. Hopefully that's not this year, injuries and things like that, but it might need to be. And what really makes me feel good about the guys you've brought in is feels like you went after the pieces you need specifically to get this offense in place, right? You got the quarterback, the wide receivers, all that stuff. And then now you're kind of focusing on the lines and you're building out from there. You have guys to block, you have guys to tackle, and it shows that, like, hey, they understand here's what we need to be successful in the short term, right? We need the skill positions, but then here are the guys we need to be successful in the long term, the building blocks on both lines. So good approach. I like it.
Yeah. Jacob Strand from Oregon State, 6'5", 302, was a top 10 player in the state of Oregon coming out. 3-star rated guy as a prospect, 3-star rated guy as a transfer, for whatever that's worth. I understand all the stuff that comes with these types of discussions. TJ Hedrick is an interesting guy. Spent 1 year at Ole Miss, 6'4", 320. Is going to have plenty of eligibility going forward. So again, not a guy who's going to come in and be a starting tackle this year, but in as much as you can build out a roster with guys who fit your culture for the future, you do that. We've discussed this week on the show, Lindsey, and for anybody who's in here live and hasn't seen all of our shows this week, we don't expect you to take in every second of the content because we have so much to offer now on the Barn. But how much are you building rosters for the future nowadays? I don't know. It's certainly way less than in the past. How much do you worry about? Well, this guy could be great in 27 or 28. You need 26 guys. That's what you need. You need guys to win in 26. But if you get a guy with upside and he fits your culture and you don't think you'll have to replace him in a year or two before he can give you production, all right, then it's a good fit. And I think that may be the case with TJ Hedrick coming from Ole Miss.
Yeah, bringing in a guy, 3-star prospect, didn't play last year, but I've talked a lot about, like, especially when it's earlier in the transfer portal, before it got to the level it is now, about being able to get these guys that have spent a year in college weight rooms, have spent a year in the program. There was a little bit, the guys that have the talents to be higher rated prospects, but they didn't have the production, they didn't have the techniques, all of that stuff from high school.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think about when I see Hedrick, is a guy that could be more, but he wasn't ready out of high school. Well, guess what? He had a full season to work out every day and listen to Lane Kiffin talk about building an offense just for Kiffin to leave.
Yeah.
So I do like the growth potential there. I think Strand's a little bit of a different situation, right? He's played multiple seasons. And you look at the most recent year, it really looks like he was kind of the swing tackle. He came and he played against Cal in week 1. Then he played 3 straight weeks, 4, 5, and 6, and then was out, and then 10 and 11, and then was done. So
yeah,
entirely possible that There are different situations, but I like 26 production. I like that there is some potential going forward with Hedrick if you can keep him. Thing we never know about right now.
Yeah, and I think they're different. I think you just highlighted that they're different. They fill different roles. Hedrick is more of a guy for perhaps he's not as much a 26 guy, and maybe Strand is. Maybe he wins a starting spot. I don't know, but if he doesn't, you've got a guy now who's capable and can come in and fill in without there being a major drop off. Super chats always go straight to the front. So Jacob J234, a $2 super chat. Did Zach hit the portal last minute? No, he did not. No.
He will be back.
Zach is we allow Zach as the king of Aub media. A few days a year he gets to do things other than come to work.
And we don't even necessarily make him find his own replacements. Right. So, like, I filled in for him on Locked on Auburn this morning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm filling in here for him today.
Sure.
If his wife calls and needs help hanging a photo, I'll probably drive to his house later and do that. Just fill in for Zach today. You know, we'll see what happens. If his mom calls and wants to have lunch with her son, I guess I'm going to be the one doing that too.
Sure.
It's fine. But he'll be back. He'll be back. This was not a permanent move on our part. He'll be back.
All right. On the offense, so those two guys help your depth on the offensive line.
Yep.
On the defensive line, where I think there's still several prospects out there that Auburn, with which Auburn is hoping to close. But Walter Mathis Jr. comes from LSU. He was a 3-star guy coming out of high school, a top 100 defensive lineman, around, top 100 coming out of the state of Georgia. 247's got him as a 4-star guy as a portal product or as a portal guy. So there's more depth on your defensive line. 6'2", 285, originally from Savannah, started at LSU, and now an Auburn Tiger.
Yeah, he's a guy, not the biggest body in the world. We know that that's kind of, Auburn has two different looks for the, for the defensive linemen. But he never started at LSU last year, but he still got 140 or so snaps, rotated in a lot of games, and, a couple clunkers here and there, but for the most part, had some pretty good games. South Carolina, Vanderbilt, disruptive, multiple tackles, did a lot of stuff. And I think that he's another guy, very young, kind of got his feet wet, but you give him a year. It makes you feel good about these guys that are in the SEC. They're rotating in, but they wanted a bigger role, and they came here. You're not just counting on a guy to go up a level of competition and be able to translate it, because he's faced that competition, just not with as many snaps as he might get here.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of questions about how many roster spots do you think still need to be filled? I just saw one. All right, let me put this one on the screen. This is from G Wheat 63. I was concerned about OL being the last piece of the puzzle, but I think AG has done a great job, and I don't think he's through. Definitely agree with the last one. With the first one, I think they've identified, obviously, what they needed. You don't get 5-star linemen in the portal all the time. Like you don't often sign 3 to 4 starting guys who are starting at successful all-conference level positions. All right. You're just not going to in other words, you're not going to get 3 starting linemen who are all conference from the SEC or the Big Ten. Just not going to do it. Okay. That's not realistic.
Nope.
But you get guys who are hungry. You get guys who can fit the scheme, who can fit the culture, and see what you got with that. I mean, we're all in wait and see mode until September anyway, to see how these pieces fit together. Just like everybody else is, by the way, but we're in wait and see mode until then.
And something I want to point out about Mathis too, he was recruited out of high school by Vontrell King-Williams. Like VKW, already had that relationship there with him. And I do think when you look at the way that AG, I every time I hear AG, I think Alan Green. I gotta get over that. When you look at the way that Golesh kind of built the coaching staff, right? The guys he brought in versus the guys he retained. Keeping VKW definitely feels like that was a big deal for reasons like this. You're reloading at that position. He already had relationships with these guys. And I think that definitely helps a lot. So it kind of makes me feel good about we evaluated them enough where we wanted them out of high school. We just get them a year later. Okay. It's somewhat of a known quantity. You're not completely guessing on how this guy is going to do because you already knew him pretty well. It's not that rush for the portal like you usually see.
Sam, who does not wear sleeves, is that considered a giant hulking megateen? Not Mathis, but
no.
I mean, Hedrick's pretty big fella, 6'4", 320. That's pretty good for a youngster. For an offensive lineman, you kind of need to be that.
You know what, Brad? I just pulled up some photos of Mathis. His weight is 285, but visually, he looks like a hulking megateen. He's got the size, like the build, right? The arms, that kind of stuff. That's how I go with hulking megateen is
because hulking can be. Yeah, I got you. All right.
Yeah. I don't think of the Hulk as being fat. I think of the Hulk as being strong. That's what Mathis looks like.
Yeah, for sure. Walt Taylor AU, a $2 super chat. Good IBWBB victory morning, the Iron Bowl of women's basketball. How about some love for Larry Vickers and his
Y'all can thank Brad Law for that.
Taking down Alabama by 4 last night. First win over a ranked – I thought this was an interesting stat. It's kind of a backhanded stat, but it's the first win over a ranked Alabama team for Auburn since 1999. Now, it's not like Alabama's been ranked the majority of years since 1999, but they're ranked 21st. Their only other loss was South Carolina before Larry Vickers and company dropped a hammer on them last night. Just smothered them defensively. 54 points. Shut them down. Caitlin Duhan fouled out of the game with 5 minutes to go. She only played about a minute and a half of the fourth quarter because of foul trouble, and about 3 of them were goofy whistles. Whistles. And they still won the game. Yeah.
Did you
Happy Iron Bowl of women's basketball victory morning.
Did you hear him talk about the DeWanna Bonner phone call? The last bit we'll do on this here.
No.
When he got the job, DeWanna Bonner called him, and she said, and this is the quote from Vickers, "I don't care what you do, just beat Alabama." And he said last night, "I was glad I was able to check that box today."
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's really good. So they're 2-3. They won back-to-back conference games. They're going to be fine. The issue for women's basketball, they've got so far to go to get up into that top half of the league. Can they get the players? Can they get the the NIL support? And can they get who do you want to compete with? Do you want to compete with Alabama? Do you want to compete with LSU and South Carolina and Texas? Who do you want to compete with? That's kind of the question for them going forward. So here is NH3425, a $5 super chat. NH, by the way, Lindsay, is one of our he is one of the many regulars. We're seeing so many regular names over there in the chat today. NH always with good stuff. Walter Mathis, remember his name, reminds me of Falk, and his interior play reminds me of Montravius Adams, War Eagle. What great comps. Man, I hope.
Yeah. Montravius Adams, I mean, he ended up being a little bit bigger, right? He was just around 300 pounds, but he was that same when he was in college, that little bit undersized penetrator on the line. I do think it's going to be interesting to see how Durkin uses him in a slightly different role than what Adams did. But I do like the idea of how you use him. You're not asking him to like body up and fill 2 gaps and hold stuff off. You're asking him to kind of slash through the line, disrupt a play in the backfield, and just cause some havoc that your linebackers can clean up. It's a different way to use guys, but I think it works out well in a Durkin defense, kind of on the end opposite your edge, right? So Falk's a great comparison there as far as how you want to use him versus what you did with Falk last year. I think it's a great call out there by NH, by the regular. Thanks for still being here, even though it's me and not Zach. I will say the facial hair game on today's show is much better
I hope
than
so.
usual. And it's mostly because of me, but
that's a good point. There really is no contest on that. You're right about that. I mean, Adams was bigger. Adams like 6'4",
305 or so. Yeah.
305, like a little bit of a different build, but no, I'll take it. I would take it for sure.
A great comp also going to the NFL, Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett was that same kind of 6'2", 285-ish kind of guy. But same thing, using his quickness off the line. I think that's kind of how you're going to end up using this for Walter Mathis.
Your boy George, a Brad Law, Lindsey Crosby crossover in this economy? Yeah, you got it. You got it. Look, I saw yesterday that mortgage rates are down to their lowest point in 3 years. That's outstanding news. This economy's not so anyway, moving on. So Auburnator has a question. Lindsey, what's your outlook on Auburn baseball this season? Yes, this is what I was excited about. I was hoping that we would get some Auburn baseball questions for Lindsey. Auburnator says, I'm interested in checking baseball out this year and would like to know how we look. Auburnator, have you not checked out baseball before? Is this going to be new for you? That's cool. I mean, it's great if it is. That's not a call out. That's genuine curiosity. Have you not been a big baseball person before, but you're checking it out this year? Kind of give us your – while Lindsey gives us his thoughts on baseball, let us know what your perspective is on it.
Yeah. The strength of this team is definitely going to be the offense. Like they are just set to put up a ton of runs. Bristol Carter leading off, bringing in Ryan Farber, I think is a big deal to be in the infield. But having that trio of Chase Fralick, Chris Rimbert, Bub Terrell, that's massive. The question for me, you have a ton of arms. There's a ton of these guys who on any given day can give you 5-6 strong innings. The question is I guess the twofold question for me is, one, who's going to ultimately be the 3 for a weekend? And kind of like in recent years, Auburn really hasn't had that Friday night guy that's your prototypical SEC strikeout machine that's pumping high 90s and punching out 10 guys a game. Auburn hasn't had that. I don't think you have anybody on this roster who's going to be that. But I still like Auburn's rotation in any given weekend versus anybody else. I asked Daryl Dappridge this of the Barn, I think this morning, how much runway does Auburn give to the initial starting 3? Because you've got so many options. You've got so many guys who can be your starters. If somebody gets in there and struggles immediately, do they get 3 or 4 weeks in non-con play to figure it out?
Yeah.
Or the fact that you have to face three regional teams in week 2 in Arlington, does that mean you've got to just go with the hot hand every single week and they kind of ignore building a weekend staff? That's my big question here.
Yeah, because, it's interesting. Coach Thompson's philosophy is not to wear guys out the first weekend.
Yep.
So the second weekend, that Arlington weekend, isn't like their second real audition. It's not like it's kind of their first, because opening weekend is sort of a ramp up. You're not going to see the high innings total or the high pitch count that first weekend. So otherwise, it seems natural to me when you have that many options. If it goes south in Arlington, if a guy just doesn't do it and 2 weeks in a row he hasn't done it, okay, well, now we got a clean breaking point. You got 2 more weekends left before conference play to figure it out. But because they don't push guys very hard on opening weekend, because they want to preserve the arms, they want to take care of them. I want those guys healthy in June. I don't need them pitching. I don't need them throwing 120 pitches on Valentine's weekend. So Auburnator said, not a big baseball guy, but I checked out the Auburn Coastal game last season. I want to watch more Auburn sports, want to check out baseball. This will be my first year watching it. That's cool. That's great, Auburnator.
That is what we want to do, is to grow the game. Fun fact, if you are checking out the broadcast and any of that, find a way to listen to the radio call. There's a couple really good guys that do that. Brad, I think, and I've told him this before, I'm going to embarrass him just a little bit. I've listened to a lot of baseball on the radio, and Brad is one of the best that I've heard in the way that he calls a game. So Auburn fans, I don't quite think we realize how lucky we are to have the pride of Piedmont, Alabama in the booth every weekend.
All right. If we're going to do that stuff, I'm going to have you thrown out of here. I mean, I have you thrown right the heck out.
Yeah. Right.
That's very nice.
Last thing I'll say about baseball real quick.
Yeah.
So just real quick. The schedule.
It ain't gonna be the last thing, brother. It ain't gonna be the last thing. We're gonna have a lot more baseball talk.
Not the last thing. Really tough schedule this year, right? That week 2, Kansas State, Florida State, Louisville, those are all really good teams. And then you look at, non-cons. You have Nebraska at home. Like, you play against Georgia Tech. Like, it's not, your conference schedule is already really tough. Auburn has done everything possible. If they just hold their own in this schedule, they're hosting a regional again this year.
Yeah.
And that should be, I think, at a minimum now, the expectation is at least a regional host. And then I think they're going to be in Omaha this year.
What I like, Lindsay, is that you ramp up slowly. That's a great idea. That's a really good way to start. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's obviously, that's the goal every time. And then not just to get to Omaha.
Yeah.
But because Butch talked about that the last time they went to Omaha. It was like, well, we've
been here enough now. Yeah.
We've been here. Why not win the thing? So that's great. So this could get really fun. Walt Taylor AU, looking forward to this to baseball this season. Any insights on the other diamond on softball? I hear we have a lot of youth this year. Oh, by the way, I had to get a higher super chat than NH. Yeah, NH had the 5.
Started an arms race.
Walt with the 10. I got to tell you, I like the potential of an arms race in super chats on these shows. Mm-hmm. It's certainly not required, but could be really entertaining, for the audience. I don't have a lot of details on softball other than what I've seen from the Malvos is they will bust their tails in recruiting. They will get after it. And I do think there's a lot of youth. I think it's a lot of hungry, talented youth. And I like the alignment in the program. So I'm excited to watch them in year 2 to see what kind of jump they can make.
I really like how aggressive the Malvos have been at scheduling quality opponents.
Yeah.
Like, I don't quite think people realize they have a game on Thursday in Jacksonville. Thursday, February 5th is the season opener at North Florida. And then they go into a tournament where they will face Notre Dame, Michigan State, Clemson, Pittsburgh, and Penn State. Like, they are jumping straight into tough matchups, teams that have hosted postseason play that are quality high-level programs. And
then a couple, and after that, they're going to play Oregon, UCLA, Washington, BYU, Cal. Oregon and Washington.
In California.
Yeah. So the aggressive is a really good way to describe the Malvos' approach to pretty much everything. I've never seen them be lackadaisical or halfway about anything. So that should be a lot of fun. Love this time of year. Lots going on this time of year. NH with another $2 super chat, a traditional A-Day game in 2026. We are so back. I love this. I mentioned this, Lindsay, earlier in the week with Zach, who's not here today, just in case we didn't mention that. We pretty much declared spring games a thing of the past. We considered them Blockbuster Video and a rotary telephone. They're done. They're gone. And then this staff comes in like, no, fill it up. Fill up the stadium. Let's play a traditional game. Let's let everybody see Byron Brown and these receivers and the offensive line and the corners and everybody else that's new. Let's make a day of it. It's going to be awesome.
I know y'all talked about it too, but for those of you who didn't see that, the reason why they're coming back now, under the old transfer portal format where you had a window after spring, what was happening is teams were going to players who were not on the first team in spring at the spring game, and they were tampering to get them in the portal. And so the benefit you got from a traditional spring game just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the reason why a lot of teams, not just Auburn, went away from the spring game. And now that there is no spring portal window, this is it. This is the only window that we have. Now you can bring back the spring game because there's benefit and you don't have the loss of your dudes getting tampered and leaving after spring because they didn't get to start on a random Saturday in March. Like, it was so dumb that became a recruiting thing, but it did. And teams were reaching out to dudes like, hey, you should be on the field as the number 1 receiver, not Cam Coleman. Enter the portal. And it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
The NCAA fixed it. I'm amazed they got something right.
Yeah, buddy. I mean, yeah, proactive as ever. Jacob J, a $5 super chat. How hard will it be to get new players' jersey before 8A? I need a Jake Johnson jersey since we share a name. That's a great question. Before A-Day, my first thought is that it would be a little difficult, but I don't know. Maybe you could try the can't you go to the team shop downtown and ask for specifics and they just do it?
I know that some places have the jersey customization. I don't know when they start doing that there. I did just look on Auburn's NIL shop, and a lot of that has not yet been updated with the new players. But I would imagine when practice actually starts, they would do that. And then I'm sure worst case scenario, that team shop can do custom if you just buy a jersey. But trust me, they're going to find a way to do that. They're going to find a way to get it to you before then.
It's so ironic that this whole thing started with jerseys. The whole thing started with jerseys and being able to sell a player's jersey and give the player a cut. Like that was some of the very earliest NIL conversations were, if I buy Ronnie Brown's jersey with number 23 on it, shouldn't Ronnie get a cut of the cash? Like I'm just using Ronnie as an example. Yeah. That's a random. That wasn't a literal example. I'm just using it as an example. If I buy a 23 jersey while Ronnie Brown's playing, shouldn't Ronnie get a cut of that? And now people are like, the only way I'm buying a jersey is if I share a name with the player. Because I know I ain't transferring, whether the player does or not. Thank you. Your boy George, a $5 super chat. At NH.
Not even to us.
Not at us. Now guys are talking to each other in super chats. It's incredible. What a meta thing this has become. My tawdry $5 donations pale in comparison to your bottomless coffers.
Whoa. We are rounding up in this economy. Oh, yeah, that was a $4.99 super chat.
$4.99. That's 4 syllables, Lindsay. 4 syllables. 5 is 1 syllable. $4.99, 5. I'm not trying to waste the people's time with extra syllables.
Okay. That's fair. That's perfectly fair. I mean, I'm a money guy. That's what I do here.
Right.
So I can't help but think like I can't round up to 5. You know, you're just right. We're just going to round that up. That's not going to fly over here.
Can I tell you, I think I saw TJ Finley in Auburn last weekend. Can I say that without causing a ruckus?
Was he on a scooter?
No, he was not. Okay. He was on a treadmill. He was in a gym.
He was why?
I'm fairly certain it was TJ. And somebody, for those listening on the audio, you have no clue. It's the most random thing ever. Somebody just commented how many TJ Finley jerseys are out there. Florida Aubie commented that, and it kind of bumped that in my brain. Like, yeah, I think when I went to my gym last Saturday, I'm almost certain it was like TJ's pretty tall. He kind of stands out. He's kind of noticeable.
He signed at Incarnate Word.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
like on the 13th.
I didn't think he was in for a visit or to be courted by the staff or anything. It was just so random to me. They're like, my gosh, that's TJ Finley.
Can I go over these teams with you?
Sure.
LSU, Auburn, Texas State, Tulane, Western Kentucky, Georgia State, and now Incarnate Word.
That's quite a journey.
That is 7 years, 7,372 career passing yards. So he's got just over 1,000 at each school.
And his random, like his explanation, I thought was really honest. He said, well, why wouldn't I go somewhere if I can get paid for playing college football? Why would I do anything else if I still can? He's operating within the rules of the system.
He'll make more money doing that than he would joining the workforce.
100%.
Yeah.
Literally probably 100% more money playing football than he would joining the workforce. There's no reason to hate on TJ Finley for that. There's no reason like,
hey, how many degrees do you think TJ Finley has? Do you think he's gotten the third one yet?
You about Dr. Finley?
I mean, he could have 2 masters.
Sure.
It's just one of those, like, you have the progress to degree requirement that is theoretically still there. I know athletes have special rules, but theoretically it's still there. He has to be continuing to get credits. So like, does he have 2 masters? Is he Dr. Finley? Like, what's the thing here? What do you think he majored in if he has a doctorate?
Let me tell you something. If TJ, when his time in football is over, if he doesn't begin to brand himself as Dr. Finley, he's missing a golden marketing opportunity. Absolutely golden.
Like, let's be honest. The business of football, the dude is winning. You know, he's probably has 2 or 3 degrees. He's made a bunch of money to play a kid's game, and he'll go into the workforce at what, the age of 30, maybe 32. I don't know how old he is, but he'll go, you know, he's like Van Wilder. If Van Wilder got paid. He's 23 right now, apparently.
23. Okay.
He's 23.
Yeah. I mean, he's not 26 or
March 25th. He's 23.
Yeah.
He's made more money than all of us made at age 23.
Much more than 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Way more than 100%. Auburn calls for he's going to be on Barncast, ain't he? That's phenomenal.
We have calls for Lou Holtz.
Okay.
For Lou Holtz.
All right.
What is your all right. I'll set you up when you're ready. Just tell me when you're ready.
I just have to get water.
Okay,
I wasn't
that's
prepared.
Is
water is crucial in this.
Is this floor water? You're drinking floor water?
Mm-hmm.
Man, all these super chats afford desk water. All right. Here we go. You can afford desk water now. It's okay. All right. I can't ask the question because he's laughing right now. I'm trying to set him up here, and I can't because he's just lost his he lost it. Take more water again. I'm glad you didn't have the water in your mouth still when I said that.
Afford desk water.
You can afford desk water now.
Why does that line land so well?
I have desk coffee right now. It's fine. All right.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
What's the question?
Coach Lou Holtz, what is your take on TJ Finley playing at 7 schools in 7 years?
Well, listen, one of my favorite movies is Six Mules for Sister Sarah. And so in the same way, 6 mules for Sister Sarah, 7 schools for Dr. Finley. I think it's a mini-series waiting to happen. And I got nothing against someone going to 7 different schools. You know, there's 7 different species of sloths. So the number 7 is a big number. It's a relevant number. And that's what I think. I think in the same way you got 6 mules for Sister Sarah. Whoops. It's 7 schools for Dr. Finley.
Follow up for Coach Holtz. How good would a TJ Finley sized octopus be at playing football?
Well, let's see. 3 hearts times 7. 3 hearts at each school. That's 21 hearts. That's a lot of hearts, my friend. That's a cardiologist's best case scenario.
Buying the cardiologist a new boat. As somebody who had heart surgery last fall, buying a cardiologist a new boat here.
I'll tell you what, a cardiologist could afford desk water.
A cardiologist is like he has. It's not just desk water. It's on a coaster. It's not just desk water. I had to wait for you to take that sip first. That was good. While you're trying to kind of get over that real quick, I did real quick. I'm going to grab a question while you're talking. Is Lindsay going to grab any Ike Bowman draft cards? So for those of you who don't know, Bowman Draft is the premier baseball card product for the drafted players. Mm-hmm. Ike Irish is very prominent in this year's, ever since he went to the Baltimore Orioles. I typically don't buy a ton of cards myself. Zach does obviously a lot of those. And he actually came on to my Braves show and talked about the cards in the thing this year. I usually what happens with the Auburn players though, is either somebody will give me a card of an Auburn player. Usually it's their parents, right? They'll send me a card. I have it like on the shelf behind me. I have an autographed Sonny DeShera card from his first Bowman product after he got drafted that he signed. He gave to his mom. His mom gave to me as like a thank you for everything that you did to help Sonny and recognize him for what he did at Auburn. So
that's cool.
I'm not going to personally probably buy any, but I guarantee you I will get one. I've got somebody sent me a Blake Burkhalter Braves one. Yeah. All these Auburn guys, I end up with one somehow.
That's really cool. Appreciate that question. Appreciate Jacob J again here with a $2 super chat. How many cardiologists do octopus need?
There's no way that a cardiologist is going to share an octopus. There's so much revenue potential there.
See, I was just thinking that as an octopus cardiologist, or an OC as they're known, an octopus cardiologist just knows you got to work on 3. Just like if you're like a veterinarian and you work on horses, there's some stuff you got to do that you don't have to deal with other creatures. So
Hobby makes a good point. The electrophysiologist, though, that's who made all the money off of me and my heart surgery. So, like, I get that. I get that.
What a great question. What a great question.
I've got one here on this. Okay. Somebody asked, this is B-Man0924. An idea for a show would be a Friday free-for-all with you and me, C5, DAP, and Blackerby. Let's kick 5 people on a screen is tough to do. You have to kick one person out of that, Brad. Who are you kicking out?
Me. I can't hold a candle with all you guys. I can't.
But none of us can
versions. We have versions of this. They're barn casts. They're live during games. They're Sunday nights. It is a great idea for a show, B-Man.
It is. A Friday free-for-all.
Such a
heading into like a baseball weekend or something.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about some of that stuff on a Friday at noon, and then we all are Friday at 10, and then we all head to the ballpark.
Yeah, and Dana's got the right idea. Get Taylor Corn in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
TK in the Friday free-for-all.
There we go. Just got to do so many. Somebody did say we have to vote out Zach because he's a Pats fan.
I was going to say, if you're going to be Zach, you got the wrong red and blue sports apparel on. For those who are audio only, he's got his 755 hoodie on.
Hank Aaron, baby.
Are the Braves going to be any good?
Yeah.
Are they going to be real good?
Okay. The Braves, I don't go ahead and stake my flag here now. Okay. The Braves are going to win the National League East.
Okay.
I've talked, and I'm not trying to like toot horn. I've talked to Alex Anthopoulos now about 3 or 4 times this winter.
Oh, look at me. Oh, look at me. I'm Lindsey Crosby. Oh, I talked to Alex Anthopoulos. Oh, look at me. Okay, great.
Okay, this is the deepest roster they have ever had. I mean, just top to bottom, whether it's position players, whether it's pitching, relievers, deepest roster they've ever had. Unless you have absurd injuries like you've had the last 2 seasons, they're going to win the National League East. I will say, though, and some people have suspected that Auburn's struggles recently have stemmed from the fact that Braves and Auburn crossover fans rolled Toomer's corner when the Braves won the 2021 World Series. What's your response to that, Brad Law?
I don't rule it out because I don't have a whole lot of actually, I do rule it out. There's a lot of real-world causes for those struggles that are very easy to pinpoint. I don't think you got to go to the I don't think we have to go to the supernatural realm to figure that out.
Okay. Coach Holtz, how superstitious are you about those traditions and things like that being able to mess with the vibe? Take the water drink already. I've been trying to stretch the question out so you can drink water. How suspicious are you about like those traditions ruining the vibe of a football team?
I wouldn't say I'm superstitious. I'm a little stitious about it, but I'm not superstitious. I think it matters the things you do and the things you think and the things you say. Those are the things that matter, and not so much the supernatural spirit world in these ball games.
Very good answer. I like that. Tell that to all the Auburn fans who were mad at the Braves for that.
So on the record, and yes, let me get this clear. It's the middle of January, and you don't want to be too extreme or too dramatic, but Auburn to Omaha and the Braves win the NL East. Those are the 2 things that you have laid the gauntlet down for.
Yes.
Today.
Yes. Okay. I'll flat out say that. Yeah, I don't have a prediction on Auburn football yet. We got to let the portal stuff finish.
Sure.
But I will go ahead and say Auburn Tigers are in Omaha, and Braves win the NL East.
All right, I like it.
And part of that is self-preservation because I'll be doing post-game shows for all of this stuff, and I want to talk about wins.
Yeah.
But there you go. Oh, speaking of, can I just real quick? The Barn Baseball Show will be coming back this year. Brad Law, Lindsey Crosby, Sonny DeShera, and in case you haven't heard, Sonny DeShera is on staff with Auburn baseball. He'll be the first base coach this season, and yet he will still be on our show.
Yeah. How about that?
talk about access. Listen,
Yeah.
everybody else gives you what you
Oh.
want. The barn gives you what you need.
Oh, I'm Lindsey Crosby. I talk to Alex Anthropoulos, and I bring on Auburn baseball coaches to the Barn Baseball Show. I'm a heavy hitter. Look at me. No, the audience appreciates that. We love it. What about live barncasts during baseball? Are you going to do any of those? I cannot obviously do those.
Yeah, I mean, you technically could do something. You're in the booth, but not quite.
Kind of
but,
everything I do is a live barncast when it
really
comes to
it is.
baseball.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've talked to some people about different ways to do some live stuff, whether it's recaps, after the game, previews. We're bouncing around some ideas. We got to figure out exactly what it's going to look like, but I'm not ruling anything out. Yeah, I also stuttered because I saw the Lou Holtz suggested quote in the chat. So, Coach Holtz, tell me when you're ready. I have something I need you to read.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous. I watched Indiana Jones with my kids last night, and can you tell me about 6 thin, thirsty snakes that slid suspiciously through thick slush? Coach Holtz?
Lindsey, you just read it. Now what am I? Now the mystery's gone now because you just read it. So here's the quote: 6 thin, thirsty snakes slid suspiciously through thick slush. Holy crap!
Golly. I couldn't say it, and I'm not Lou Holtz.
Thank you, your boy George.
Thank you. That was really good. I appreciated that
good.
very much. I enjoyed that. That was a ton of fun.
All right.
You want to put a final call for questions real quick?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Final call for questions because this could go left in a hurry.
You say that like it's been completely on the straight. It's nailed the straightaway so far.
That's
but
true.
We have a risk of running off the road here.
That's a really good point.
Thank
like
you.
the rest of them are straight and narrow, and this one is the one.
This one, this is the one that really kind of had trouble here.
So I mean, I think let's don't bury the lead. The Barn Baseball Show is coming back. That's pretty cool. We are looking forward to that.
It's officially coming back. I got to figure out exactly when it's going to be.
Yeah, we all. Yeah, I feel like we all the tap dance around that schedule is going to be a fun one, but we'll get it.
Yes. Hey, we now that Sonny is coaching here, a little bit more flexibility than when he was playing minor league games 6 days a week. That was one of the main factors last time. So
that's true.
It's a little better here that we have the schedule. If he's on campus, worst case scenario, I can just come over there because you're both on campus. I can just come over there and sit down and we can do it. So it's the flexibility is a little better.
We're going to do the Friday lives, so I'll still be able to do those even when we're on the road because we're not going to play it, 1 in the morning or 1 in the afternoon or 11 in the morning or whatever when we're on the road. So
you do have a 10 o'clock game scheduled, but that's a Sunday. So
right,
Arlington.
So for Friday, we're going to be fine even when we're on the road to do those.
Oh, somebody said Harry Carey. Oh, somebody said Harry Carey impression started to bubble up there a little bit. I can see that.
You hit me with kind of an assertive hey, and it's Will Ferrell's impression of Harry Carey from Saturday Night Live. Hey,
you're doing an impression of somebody doing an impression.
Well, that's all mine are anyway. Hey, if you were a hot dog and you were starving, would you eat yourself? It's a simple question, Norm. Quit jerking me around. We called him Norm. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's good. That's so good. Okay. Oh man. We need to. Does Coach Lou Holtz know anything about baseball? Can we get him when it's time for the baseball?
Strike 1, strike 2 is strike 3. That's about it. A walk is the base on balls. You got to know when to slide, when to steal, when to sacrifice. Those are important tenets of the game. Center field's an important position, almost as important as shortstop. And your starting pitching is critical, too.
It is. All your pitching's critical. Final question here. I think this is a good place to end this, Brad.
Okay.
Who wins the Natty on Monday? That's from the Aubinator. Who wins the national championship, Indiana or Miami at home in their own stadium?
Yeah, Indiana. It's not close. Indiana would beat 2019 LSU by 2 touchdowns. It's going to be a boring second half. Indiana.
Oh, no. I am pivoting. That is not the final question. I am pivoting.
Okay.
There was somebody the other day who said that Cam Newton was not probably the greatest college quarterback of all time. And they said, put Joe Burrow on that team, and they do just as well.
No chance. Like, I'm hesitant to even respond because it's clearly clickbait.
Yeah.
Clearly. That's preposterous. Joe Burrow had an amazing offense. He had 2 1,000-yard receivers. I mean, he's a Heisman winner. He earned it. They're fantastic.
Yeah. What people don't remember about that is that of that Auburn offense, not a single dude caught a pass in the NFL, got a carry in the NFL, or blocked a single play in the NFL. It was Cam and a bunch of college dudes. There was no NFL talent on that offensive.
Yeah. And I don't want to demean, and you're not doing it, but I want to be clear that we're not undermining those college dudes. That's what they were supposed to be. It's the college national championship. They're a college team. And, you can argue they're the best team in Auburn football history if you want to. I mean, it's hard to say a national championship winning undefeated team isn't. Joe Burrow on that team, they would have lost 3 games.
At least. Yeah.
They would have lost 3.
And Cam Newton on the 2019 LSU Tigers would have just been absurd. I mean, would he have thrown for 5,600 yards and 60 touchdowns? Probably not.
Yeah.
But would they have been a juggernaut? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and your boy's got it. Your boy George. They're not coming back against Clemson. They may not come back against Alabama. They were down to Georgia a couple of scores. They're on 21-7 to Georgia, weren't they? I don't know. They're coming back from that game. No, there were a lot of games that year they don't come back from with Joe Burrow. No, it's look, anybody who's still anti-Cam in terms of football, okay? You have an agenda. You're biased. To just like, it's a free country, just say that. Just say you don't like the guy, okay? But to say that he's not the greatest college quarterback of all time is not very intellectually honest.
Or to even say that he's not a college football Hall of Famer. Right. That blew my mind.
That's dumb. That's so just dumb. What are we doing? Why do we have a Hall of Fame? If Cam Newton's not in the College Football Hall of Fame, why do we have one? So I thought it was a joke. I thought it was AI when I saw that. So
apparently there's a real person who thinks that.
That's crazy. All right. Well, good. Now that we're all like juiced up and ready
fired
to
up,
punch through brick walls and stuff. I think that will wrap it up for today. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your participation. Consider becoming a member of the channel. There's some benefits to that, special members-only content, and more to come. But at the very least, subscribe, and that'll help out the channel a great deal. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Does that about do it for today's show, Lindsay?
That'll do it. Start the buses.
No, that's where you say, I think that about does it for today's show.
I think that about does it for today's show.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. And remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.